said you've changed since GamerGate, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
but have your politics changed since GamerGate or because of GamerGate?
Not really. Yeah, I still see negatives and positives on both sides. So, no, not really. It's one of the few things about me that hasn't changed since the GamerGate, actually. Yeah, I'm still very, like I said earlier, politically homeless. So, I think all sides have their pluses and their negatives.
Are you okay with gaming websites criticizing video games from a religious or political lens, like a Marxist, feminist, Christian, or other type of political critique?
I think they're allowed their opinions so long as they're open about their biases from the very beginning. I think, and this was something I've said in the early days of Gamergate. The idea that we need more women in gaming, I actually agree with that. And I've been really happy to see more and more female characters. I mean, yeah, we've had some well before that. One of my all-time favorite games is Alice Madness Returns, and the main character of that game is a female. But I think as long as you're open with your biases from the very beginning, sure, yeah, everyone should. I think everyone, like I said earlier, I think everyone should have the right to voice their opinion, even if I disagree with it.
Do you do you see any value in that kind of critique, like the feminist critique of games, or the Marxist critique, or anything like that?
I think if anything, it can give me an alternate viewpoint to think about. Like I said, in some cases, sure, because more strong female characters in games, yeah, I can get behind that idea. More bisexual representation, absolutely. I absolutely love what they did with Melina in Mortal Kombat 1. It's not out and out stated, but it's heavily implied that Melina is in a relationship with her top female guard, which I'm cool with.
Do you think that
I think,
Good.
sorry, I think representation is a good thing, but not when it's forced down your throat.
What does that mean? Forced down your throat?
The whole kid showing up like the stereotypical gay kid who's like wearing a giant, rainbows all over his clothes and like, hey, did you know I'm gay? Nah, nothing like that. Um, going back to Mortal Kombat, I think the way that they handled their LGBT characters, I think they did it right. It was either implied or there was a slight mention, but they didn't focus on it. It was just, it's mentioned or implied, but they don't make a big deal about it. They don't harp on it. It's just like, hey, here's a really strong fighter, a really noble friend who happens to be gay. And that's it. It's a
So,
part of him, but it's not, they don't define his character around, well, I should say there, because there was Melina, and then I can't remember his name, and I kind of wish Nurgle were here to remind me because he would know. One of the characters from MK10 who was gay. And, in his case, a very, you know, yeah, great fighter, noble friend, but he just so happens to be gay. That's it. They don't, I know I keep repeating myself here. They don't make it a huge plot point.
are there cases where focusing on a character's sexuality could be an aspect of the game that the developer wants to explore artistically?
I think in some ways, you know, it can add to the story. There's a game, I'm trying to think of the name of it, and I'll have to look it up. I actually had it on Xbox Game Pass for a bit. Um, but the main male character being trans, being female to male, um, I think wasn't, the way they weaved that into the story,
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
I thought
about
was
too.
interesting. And I had initially played it because I had become friends with a trans man, and I kind of wanted to get a better understanding of what his experiences could have been like. So that's why I initially played it in the first place. Hang on. But yeah, no, the character being trans added a bit more to the story. If it I okay. I think if it's a part of the storyline, but it's not harped on. Like this game in particular, yeah, it's talked about and it is part of the story, but it's overall like a mystery, suspense kind of game.
So it can be part of the
And
story.
there's
It just can't be like it can't be the only thing. They have to be like real people,
yes,
real characters.
yes, and that was something that I loved about this character in this game because you got to know a bit more about his backstory, um, some of the trauma he was dealing with. Yeah, and there were times where I completely forgot that I was playing a trans character.
Some people say that GamerGate was the first battle of the culture war. Do you have any thoughts on that framing?
Mm, I can see why people would say that. I'm not. I don't know. It's it's not. To me, I didn't see it as culture war. I just saw it as I feel like you're attacking me and some of my friends or some of the people that I tend to hang out with. Tell me why. That's the name of that game.
Are there any framings of the GamerGate discussion that you think are useful? So you talked about how people are attacking your friends. Is that, or well, I guess how do you see it? I guess would be the best way to ask this.
How do I see what Gamergate was? I saw it as de- an attempt to dehumanize a group of people that they didn't like. And while they claimed to be all for women and whatnot, I shared a bit of my experience with that earlier. It, I just didn't see it. I didn't see them as that, and so it's kind of hard to answer.
No, I get it. I don't know if there is a single type of view that one should hold on Gamergate. It was so complex, and I think there's
It
multiple
was.
framings that work decently-ish, or somewhat at least.
I think everyone kind of had their own reasons for getting involved, depending, regardless of which side of the fence you're on. I think everyone had their own reasons for getting involved. For me personally, it was like, you know, you're attacking people that I tend to hang out with, but you're also completely devaluing me as a person by saying, "Oh, you identify as a gamer, but you also say you're a chick. You must be, actually some dude who stole his profile picture for some poor girl on Facebook." I felt that was insulting.